Yo, what's up, studs? What's going on in the hood? Yo, my friends, my people, my team, my love. Everybody good? Everybody saucy? Everybody feeling what they gotta feel? All right, let's fucking do this. Everybody good? Hot damn, man. 2 beers in a bucket? Bucket. Sawmill, what's up, baby? How you doing? D-Mac, how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year. Adam, what's up? How you doing? Sammy, what's going on, man? How you doing? Everybody, let's go and do what we have to do. I think today is very important because, man, the goddamn market is hot. There ain't no getting around that. But there's a lot of things. There is a lot of things that we got to be aware of. So we got to, number one, today, build out our watch list. And then number two, we got to find out the heaters for the next couple of days. Does that make sense? All right, let's go do the Lord's work. The Lord's work on the devil's playground, that is the stock market, my friend. So it don't matter whatever you're into, all right? A part of expertise, if you want to be an expert in the stock market, you want to be somebody that builds systems. You want to be somebody that builds something that is multipliable, quantifiable, qualifiable, but something that just lasts for a long time. You need to have routines, all right? If you do not have proper routines, then you cannot actually, you're not going to get where you need to go. So what we need to do today is, number one, look at the hot stocks. What is hot for tomorrow? But beyond that, right, we need to establish some systems that will allow you to find some stocks for the next coming days. Does that make sense? All right, cool. So we're looking right now at here. This is Hims. This is the Boner Pills Company. Ignore that, all right? Ignore that. Go to your daily setups, all right? So for those of you guys that are in boot camp class and beyond, right, go to your daily setup chart. So this is what we got to do. First thing first, if you are going to be looking at stocks, you want to first look at the indexes. You want to do what's called a top-down approach. I learned this from Paul. Top-down approach. Top-down approach means that you are going to be looking at the market from a distance. You're going to be looking at a market from top down. So what I want to do is look at a 5-day sort, all right? So 2 beers in a bucket, fuck it, right? So what is the hot stocks of the last 5 days? So I do a 5-day sort. What's the hot stocks of the last 5 days? UNG. UNG is kind of interesting because it has been in the downtrend all of 2023. What's a rule of thumb in stocks? What's a rule of thumb in stocks? 1 year's trash is the next year's golden. 1 year's trash is the next year's golden. So this UNG actually right now looks like shit. It looks terrible. It looks like a giant piece of excrement. But what we're starting to see, and I think it's going to actually be pretty important, is we're starting to see something on this. So a bottoming pattern, right? Everybody and their mother wants to buy stocks when they go up. How do you buy stocks when they go down? Right? That's the catch-22 of life. So you got something The W pattern is the number one pattern. So you got this, pops up, comes down. So you have a level here that's developing in UNG. It's not sexy. I get that. It's not sexy. It's not like buying Tesla. Well, guess what? How many people lately actually make any money trading Tesla? Very little, right? But this W pattern, if it comes out of this, that's hot. That's zesty. There's something to that. What is, so if you think natural gas is something, what are the stocks you can trade? How do you find those stocks? That's always the catch-22, right? That's the catch-22. How do you find that juice? That juice. Good. So what do you got to do? Yeah, you can do the ETF. You can buy UNG, right? You can buy UGAS, right? So you got all sorts of little different things you can do. Is UGAS even around? That's the question. All right, so you can buy the natural gas fund. That's not showing the same price as this. So what you really want to do is look and see if there's any stocks that are worth a damn. So there are a handful of companies that actually do natural gas. And so what you can see is even though natural gas spiked up, most of these companies have been doing shit. So now you have a kind of catch-22. You got catch-22, 32. All right. So these companies are doing nothing. If you do a 90-day sort, there's nothing that's even green except one stock. All right. Cool. So is there anything? Why it's important is that 1 year's trash is usually the next year's gold. I've seen this so many times in the world. You know, when Jim Biden or Brandon Biden or whoever took over, right? Everybody thought the solar companies would go crazy, right? Well, since old Brandon took over, what's happened to solar companies? Crash. What's happened to solar companies? Crash. What's happened to solar companies? Crash. So this thing goes from 30 bucks to $4. So normally you would think like, okay, some Democrat comes over and takes over the world. These solar companies would go up. They went down. And the vice versa happened. The oil companies went up. And when the Trumpster was around, these solar companies went up and the oil companies went down. So in the end, like none of this really, really matters. The key is always knowing like cycles, right? Like what are the cycles of the market? So one of the cycles of the market is that 1 year's gold is 1 year's trash. So I think this natural gas, it actually can be something for people because beyond the actual price of natural gas, there's going to be a handful of companies. There's ConocoPhillips, EOG, like there's going to be a handful of these companies. Oxy's probably the easiest one to get, and they all look terrible. They look terrible. This is actually worse than a stock being a downtrend, but this is something just to be mindful of. 1 year's trash always becomes the next year's gold. So we've got something over there. Now, secondary thing. I think this is going to be, so I don't make bets, right? I don't make bets and I don't make any proclamations to you guys. But the big hairy Indian but is, I think the solars, they're going to get hot. So the solars topped out over here in 2021. They've had years to come down. Now we've got a dreaded cock and balls pattern. Man, this is the best pattern you can get. When you talk about bottoming pattern, the dreaded cock and balls pattern, look at that thing, is the #1 pattern that you can do on the market. But this also fits the theme. 1 year's trash. What's been down more year to date than solar? So if you go anytime a sort, right? If you do a year to date sort, what do you got here? ARC. ARC was terrible, right? You got a handful of names out here. And TAN is one of those names that just, you're never gonna like stop. You're never gonna stop. Whoa. Time out here. You're never gonna stop looking at it. Because solar powered is obviously, it's just something important anyways. I sound like an ESG guy, but hold on here. Right? So my codes are a little bit wrong. This was all 85 bucks. Got down to 40 bucks. You got 50% drop. That doesn't seem like much, right? Like it doesn't seem like much. But if you think about this, $360 to 70 bucks. What's the percentage on that? 80 bucks, right? 30 bucks to $3, 90%, give or take. Right? So you got like all this, every single name that look hot did it, right? They cracked. And this has been happening since I've been a trader. The dogs, they used to call the dogs of the Dow. We're gonna call it something different, right? We're gonna call it something millennial. So this thing is 300 bucks, it comes on 96 bucks. In 2024, that's hot. That's real hot, right? That's the setup right there. Something that has been down 90%, 80%, 70%, whatever it might be. And now downtown Julie Brown, you've got yourself a push out of the zone, and you're talking about your first pullback, your first consolidation. So the identifying characteristic of what a trend is when a stock comes out of accumulation zone, this is your accumulation zone, and the first high or low is bought. That is the classical, like, hey, I read a textbook definition of what is a bottoming instrument, right? So you get that, and then now you have this epic opportunity. Epic opportunity, right? If it comes out, I want you to write this down. If this fucking thing breaks 98, you're buying this. You gotta buy this thing. We got it, right? This is what we do. We're into the runners. That's hot. This is a flag pattern. It's 2 patterns. You got a flag pattern, but then you also have you also got a base breakout. So you got multiple patterns that are coalescing. Does that make sense? Good. It's a good God-fearing Christian pattern. That's my mama. You know how that goes? Man, it's a good look right here. Don't that look good? What does look like that? Hot damn. This creed has a flag breakup, but you can. This thing's ready to party too. Right? So this is something that used to be all the way up here, came crashing down. And now, right, you also have a flag pattern. So this moves a little bit slow. You can, whoa. What you should do is come in Use that DPST, little DP. Man, that's hot. If you just reorganize your list a little bit, this is the entry one. That's entry two right there. 104. If that ain't hot, I don't know what's hot. Does that make sense? This thing, if it breaks 104 tomorrow, if it breaks 104, I wouldn't say 104, but maybe a 102.90. If it breaks 102.90, this thing is ready to party. So how do you actually extrapolate gains on this? Because the ATR on this is actually not that good, right? So if you look at DPST, I think what you want to do, so this is a 3x ETF, maybe 2x ETF. I would go in with Parson. This is what I would do. I would go in with these calls. So if it gets over this level that we're just watching, right? We're all watching right now. If it gets over that, I would go in with like the 104-ish calls. And bros, you go to the 104-ish calls and it breaks that. It looks like shit right now because calls will decay. But if it breaks 103-ish, I would go with the 104 calls. Dude, you're going to have some fun. The ATR on this is $6. If you go 104 calls and it's at 103, like and it explodes, you're going to get there. And then you're going to get some, right? You're going to get a lot of some. If it gets to say 105 tomorrow, hypothetically, the old high is 110, so it does have a history move. If it gets to 105 tomorrow, these calls will be, you'll be up 500 or 600%. Now, we don't know if the setup is there. That's the key of everything. You don't know if the setup is there. Like, we're not degenerates. We are, but we're not degenerates all the time. But we have a level here, and we've got to let it play out. If it gets there, I take the calls, and then I do the Lord's work. Does that make sense? Good. All right, cool. Now, beyond that, let's do a couple scans here. Do a couple scans here, see if there's anything worth trading to mark, right? So this CGH, old China green agriculture. Fuck. This reminds me of a young man. I used to trade this literally decades ago. Sawmill, hold on. Let me get that for you. Hold on, buddy. I got you. I got a little video here. How to get the ATR on the stock. I got you, buddy. Hold on 1 second. Boom, 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 boom. Sawmill, it's a good thing you're Indian. You interrupted the Lord's work. I'm just kidding. Hey, Sawmill, use this. All right, cool. So you got CGA? No small caps on Friday. So none of this matters, actually. None of this matters. There is no small caps on Fridays. No small caps on Fridays. This is for your own benefit. This is going to help you for the rest of your life. Have any of you guys ever felt like you're not good enough? Like you're not man enough? Well, trading small caps on Friday is the way to take those feelings and make them a lot lower. When you lose on Fridays, especially on a small cap, boy, you're going to feel all the pain. When you lose on a small cap on Friday, you're going to wonder, am I too short? Do I not have enough capital? Am I a chaser? Am I a good human? Can I even be a part of my sister's wedding? Is Joe Biden a robot? You're going to think of all these things. You will always question the world when you trade small caps on Fridays. This is the history of life, and it's a big life. So we got to stop doing it. If you trade small caps on Fridays and you lose, if you win, first of all, you're going to Dairy Queen, you're having a nice time. Like you nail one of these trades, and like, hey man, we're going to Dairy Queen, we're going to Little Caesars, we're having some fun. If you lose small cap on Friday, what's going to happen? You may walk in, and it's a weird situation. All of a sudden, your wife is doing something that she's not supposed to be doing. All of a sudden, your kids are saying uncle, and then they're saying not uncle, that's a dad. I have seen this happen. I've been teaching people since 2008. I've seen this happen a million times. You trade small caps on Fridays. Guess what? Things are going to be a little bit tricky. So be mindful of, don't trade suit. Don't trade sin. Now, this I can get behind. What do you got here? What do you got here? This I can get behind. So now you got something, you got a big downtrend on something, and this is what we call a base breakout pattern. You got a pop-up flag pattern. Damn. That's hot right there. I don't trade small caps on Fridays, but if you're going to do it, do it. Does that make sense? Like that's where you got to be on some of these things. I'm taking that thing. I love it. That I would add. Iowa, no pattern, no pattern, no pattern. The big thing is you always want to look at the daily chart. So like a lot of these stocks could be hot, right? Who cares? The question is going to be, is it hot tomorrow? Right? We're on Thursday here. Is it going to be hot tomorrow? So the big hairy Indian butt is like what we're looking for, old SOF, is what can we trade tomorrow? This I can respect. So what do you got here? Oh, friends, you've got a flat top breakout. This is one of the best breakout patterns you can do. So this stock used to be $150 damn dollars. Right? Now it's been drifting lower, 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 lower. Now you come and test the resistance. Then you test resistance again. So it takes 3 tests of resistance to actually build out a breakout. So you got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. The key of all breakouts, you want the 9 curling up under it. So I saw this thing today. I wasn't ready for it yet, but it is starting to move up. This thing right here, that thing is the tour de jour. I'm loving this thing. This we can get behind. Flag this, guys. I think this is something hot for tomorrow. This is something that's a buenos. I like it. Too extended, right? So big part of trading. If you are buying on day 5, day 6, you are literally the last man to the gangbang. Literally the last man to the gangbang, right? Big portion of trading is what? You always want to be number 1, number 2, or bro. Becoming number 5, that's not a sloppy seconds, that's a sloppy fifths. Never be the last man to the gangbang, right? That is always. So we can't buy this. It's hot. Yes, it looks fantastic. I agree with you guys. But bros, that ain't gonna work. But DMAC, I hear you. That ain't gonna work. But DMAC, I hear you. Chunk, 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 chunk. This I can get behind. See this? What do you have here? What pattern is that? Test, 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 test. What pattern you got here? Come on. What pattern you got there? I know you guys know. It's a flag pattern, right? Anytime you have a big pop and you have a sideways consolidation and the 9 EMA comes right up under the kitchen, it's a flag pattern. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Don't overthink anything. Yes, you can get my layouts here. Right here, buddy. Okay, that's my layout. So when you have a flag pattern, when it breaks, you put your stop under 9 EMA. So stop loss about, let's say 18, give 10 more cents, 1880. Now I got yourself a good God-fearing Christian setup right there. I like it. Who doesn't like it? Good, good, good. Look at all this. Too extended. What we want to find is stocks that are close to their base. We want to find stocks that are consolidated. We want to find stocks that have still juice left. This pen is maybe, I mean, that may be number one tomorrow. What do you think? This is not bad either. If you don't mind an $8 stock, that's a good God-fearing Christian setup. Bros, HPBB, this is oil stock. No, not oil stock, real estate stock. Right there, tap, 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 tap. That's some buenos. Now look, why is this thing probably more of a swing trade than a day trade? Anybody know? Like, why would this be, like, I looked at this stock, I see a swing trade. Why can't it be a day trade? It could be a day trade, but why wouldn't you? I think you wouldn't because the ATR is low. So ATR is 50 cents, right? So my goal is always like, I always think if you can capture like half a move or even like a third of a move, you're making money. So if your move is just like 20 cents, how much of it can you really capture? Probably not that much. So I love this kind of move. I love this chart pattern. This is a buenos. But the big hairy Indian butt is that this stock is probably more of a swing trade setup. It's something I would tuck into my IRA. I'd put a stop under the 9 EMA and I would just, forget about it for a little bit of time. It's not something I would like day trade with, even though it did have some good range, right? You had a pop, a little bit of pull into the bone zone. By the way, the bone zone is a good spot to get, right? Get loose and then get a little bit of pop. But the bone zone only works like in the mornings. See, like pop, bone zone, pop, bone zone. Whoa. Well, let's look at this bad boy. This, I think, is hot to trot. If you are just trading if you're trading anything less than like 5,000 shares, this is hot. This stock has a history of making moves. It's 29 million share float. And you have a range break setting up right here. That's a good spot right there. And guys, stocks that are moving off the bottoms, man, they're moving, right? This has got not crazy volume, but it has got a good spot. Now, you never have to chase a stock. This is how I want you to always think about this stuff, right? Don't chase a stock. So, like in the morning, you pull back to 9, pull back to 9. Always remember, at post 1030, you want to pull back not to the 9, but into the bone zone. So you want into the shaded area. So you pull back in this bone zone, well, that you can do. You always want to remember the 9 EMA is for the morning. As you get towards the end of the day, you're going to go between the 9 and 20. And frankly, the best ones are going to be towards the 50. You're going to have a little bit more, pull. Does that make sense? Good. Right? But in the morning, boom, pull back into the 9. That's 9. Boom, pop, pull back in 9. It's a buenos. Right? See this? Pop, pull back in 9. You guys get what I'm putting down? See this? Pop, pull back in the bone zone. Boom. Like that's the nature of trading. You always want to be. So the big hairy Indian butt of all this stuff. I mean, we're talking about a lot of stuff. What are we going to trade tomorrow? We got one day in the new year, and then we're going to have to be mindful of a couple things. So I want to do this for a reason today. The market is on a big run. A monster, 340 or 411, and you've broken all-time highs. Broken all-time highs on the QQQ. Now on the SPY, we got something here, right? Whoa, I don't know what this is happening here. The old SPY. Little SPY, you are right at resistance. You have not actually broken through. You have not actually broken through. How many times do you have to test a level before you break through? The odds of the SPY breaking through here is none. I would say 10%. If it does break through, it'll knife up for a couple days and pull back probably to the zone. Stocks do not pull and break out of 2 taps. 2 taps are for losers. It's always been the case since I've been trading. I've been trading since 1999, professionally since 2008. Never seen 2 taps work. If it breaks, it's probably coming down. So you got to be mindful of this. Like it may break, but it's probably coming down. The better thing is like it just comes down here and then you can get this kind of secondary push. I don't know if 2024 is going to be bullish or bearish. I don't care, right? I do not care. That's the big thing. You cannot, as traders, have opinions. Hey, the market in 2024 is going to be bullish. The market in 2024 is going to be bearish. Tesla is going to be good. It's going to be bad. None of these things matter. They're just noise. In the end, as traders, we have to be really willing to just accept what is the price action. What are the levels of these stocks? So the big thing is, look, we did cross. I think this is a big thing. We did cross the 200 mark on the IWM. You want to see small caps leading the way. If they're not, holy shit. Like, then we're just trading the big 7. So what was 2023? If you look at hold on here, let me. If you look at equal weighting indexes, like RSP, they're not at all-time highs, right? All-time highs. This is the S&P, but it's equal weighted. You're close, but you're not there. We have the same thing on the QQQs. It's close, but it's not there. The QQQs already broke under. So this is if it's equal weighting. So what we're essentially saying is that the big 7, your Tesla, Googles, Apples, whatever they might be, Metas, they have led the way for a long period of time. But we do have some hints of some good stuff here. Like we have to be careful that the market may change into the new year. But till then, I think we've got some spots. The VFS. This is a good God-fearing Christian setup right here. You need 3 tests of breakout, right? So you got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. That's a show and go. Put this on your list. They may go tomorrow, 875. Right on alert. Hot damn, this could go tomorrow. Snow. I think this thing is ready to partake. The breakout is 202, 202, let's say 300, 203, sorry. 203. All right, that's a good spot. So you got 203 breakout on this. Guys, this is a hot spot. So when you look at this, you're just seeing this, right? That's how we all are conditioned to look. But the big hairy Indian but is that there's a longer term breakout in the works that's happening. You're clearing bases. Guys, stocks, they get their power from consolidation. They get their power from basin. They get their power from these multi-year examples where you're stuck under a lid, all right? When you think about a breakout, what you have to think about is, okay, there's a lid on the stock. So every time you test it, you weaken that lid. So you test it, and you test it. So when you finally break out over it, it becomes an explosion. Now, the explosion doesn't just come in one candle, two candles. So we have an explosion setting up, but it's not linear because this is a big company. This is a company of $70 billion, right? So it does pop over, and then it ends up doing a secondary kind of relaxation. When a stock does that, it's actually bullish. Remember what we just talked about? Stocks get their power from consolidation base. So you start to go sideways, 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 sideways. Now this is your secondary trigger. This trigger will be bigger than the first breakout. So now, because if you think about it, where's the next level of resistance? Right here. That's nice. You got a lot of upside once you can clear that. That's hot. Hims, the Bonner Bills. Guys, Hims is hot. Stop buying shit on Amazon. Your two things should be like, you guys are white, right? You want to go and buy stuff on Chewy, it feeds dogs. That's nice. Charlie. Then the other thing is you should buy stuff at Hims. Hims, you can get boner pills. Nice. You can get Propecia, which is hair stuff. Nice. Right? And you can get some other stuff. Hims is changing the game. We got to support this thing. I think, man, 920 sets this thing loose. Loose for the goose. I think loose for the goose is a nice spot too, man. Loose for the goose is a good God-fearing Christian spot. I set an alert. So you always want to look at stocks. So this is the key of all trading. You want to look at stocks on multiple time frames. What I mean by multiple time frames is, okay, you see a stock on a daily chart. Okay, that's great. But to truly align it, right? To align your goals, but to also align your entries. You want to look at that same stock on a different time frame. That's why in my charts, like I always have the daily on the left, and then I have on the right, you know, like if I always use 5-minute charts, but you know, you can use a 15-minute chart and you'll start to see, man, you'll start to see like all sorts more Butamus Maximus, right? All sorts of Butamus Maximus. And that's going to help you get better entries. It's going to help you just relieve a little bit of congestion. So I love this look of it. The boner pills, guys. And dude, let's be honest, right? Like, ooh, let's be honest, a terrible millennial. Am I a millennial? I don't even know. But let's be honest is the worst term you can think of. Anybody that says let's be honest is a liar. Dude. Imagine like somebody's talking to you, you're having a conversation, you're at a nice restaurant. They're like, yeah, let's be honest. Liar. Why would anybody say that unless they're dishonest? Nobody would ever say that. And I just said it. And I'm feeling very guilty about it. Oh, God, I got to take a shower. That was messed up. I don't want to be that guy. And I just said it. I don't know. A lot of you guys are in your 20s and 30s. I'm 42. I know. It ain't right. But we got a spot here. Let's be honest. Ooh. But that I didn't say that on purpose. 905. Bam. What do you got? Guys, boner pills are hot. Dude, what's more profitable than feeding 24-year-old guys boner pills? Think about that. You get a bunch of 20-year-olds that can't get boners because their food is poison, probably drinking tap water, they're probably just watching too much porn. They can't get boners. So you gotta feed them this thing, right? You ever notice, like, my dad, 7 years old, get boner all the time. I see my dad walking around, he's got a big fucking boner. But these young guys, right, they're jacking up all the time. They can't get no boners. Think about that. The old guys get the boners. But yes, this is tap water, seed oils, and a whole host of other things. I don't even know. But we got to be careful about this stuff. Because when the old guys can get the boners and the young guys are feeding him, because like, dude, how I know this is true, this is fact. There's no old person that could ever get on a Hims website and put their credit. My dad would be calling me all the time, like, how do I get my card in here? I need the boner pill, right? Like they'd be like, these Hims website, I don't get it. These things are made for people that know computers. Who knows computers? 20-year-olds. Does that make sense? Goddamn right. Goddamn right. Why do 20-year-olds need boner pills? Seed oils, tap oil, not working out. Gotta lift some weights probably. I don't even know. I don't know what the action is, but all I know is this is a hot setup. Probably half of you guys are using this shit. I ain't judging, but I'm wondering. I ain't judging, but I'm wondering. Take it. Hey, CVNA. Big breakout. Pull back in 90-minute curls for the girls coming out of the kitchen. Man, that's nice. Real nice. I love that stuff. Guys, and by the way, like you can do this shit. I mean, you can do this shit. You don't have to do shares, right? You can do this shit in options. You can do this stuff in all sorts of doohickeys. Man, you can do this stuff in all the good stuff. This thing, I think, is ready to party. Test. Oh, man. Said it. There's nothing tighter than that. Guys, name me one better pattern than that. So you got something that's $400. Gets $70. Come out of the zone of love. They get a tight pattern, flag pattern. Name me one better pattern than that. Shit. You got none, right? Let's go to like an hourly. Oh, man. That's hot. That's hotter than Goose Caboose if I ever seen one. Don't worry about this. This Uber, guys, I want you to put a 6350. 6350 alert on any trading platform you have. I'll probably do it because Uber doesn't move that much. It's like 2% a day. But tomorrow, so the reason I add this, tomorrow is 0 DT. Tomorrow's 0 DT. So what I would do personally is probably 63. You get the 64 calls. If it goes and breaks this level, get the 64 calls for another 10 cents. Dude, you're going to be shredded. You're going to be shredded. They were just 120, right? If this thing rips, say it rips $1, these 10-cent calls will probably go to 80 to $1. You make 1,000%. If it breaks that in holds, right? Like, and it's got to trend a little bit. But if it does that, guys, you got something right there. All right. Whew. That's some good God-fearing Christian stuff. So like when you're trading options, I got all this stuff, right? Like, what does that even mean? So I think this is the best way to do it. So I learned this stuff from Levi. He is the best options trader I have ever met, right? And we took a bunch of trades in Mara today. Mara was our bread and butter. So when you see something like Mara, so like how you want to do, like what we do is have some pre-drawn out zones of love, and we call these Fibonacci, right? Fibonacci. Now, but Levi has these auto drawn out. So what happens is like what we do is like say I have a daily setup. So Mara's been up 10 days in a row. So when I have a daily setup, when you come into the zone of love, I'm essentially buying the puts. I was buying the 29.50 puts all day. And you'll start to get these. So every time you hit into these zones of love, like I'm coming in on the 29.50 puts, and bros, like zones of love, this is a new thing for me. But like when the options trades work out, you make 50%, 100%, so on and so forth. Pretty hot. But what you want to do is just make sure, right? Like you're getting pops into that. And then vice versa, you can use this. Like what I want to see is like a thrust and then a pullback into the zone of love and then a pop. But you always want to be trading with the trend and like your overall idea of things. Does that make sense? Good. So I keep different layouts of this. So like if you're looking at like a zone of love, right? When it comes into this, like if you're doing options, like this is a Levi stuff. You come into this is Google, boom, right? You get this nice pop down. When you're coming into matter, right? Boom, pop down, boom, pop down, boom, pop down. Like you'll have these zones will hold. And we call these Fibonacci's, but you can, in the end, it's like you get a gap down, gap up, pull back. It doesn't look like much because you're trading Microsoft, but if you're trading the options on it, hot damn. If he goes from here to here, you're making 100%. If you go from here to here, making 50%, so on and so forth. Doing something like this, hot damn. So this is the good stuff. Like you want to make sure. I never had this stuff. I've been trading since 2008 professional. And I was trading since 1999 before that. And this stuff that like Levi puts together, I mean, that's the game changer. Like I always had EMAs and all this kind of stuff, but having these like science lines, because I've always been a chaser by nature. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been chasers, but like I'm a chaser by nature. So like when you see like, like this Amazon, like it goes up like this, I normally would buy that because I'm like, oh shit, it's clearing these ranges. But then it gets dusted, right? And then it starts to post up and I'm like, wow, that's really strong. But I normally would buy that, but then it gets dusted, right? And that's been a little bit of, it's been a change. And I think that's the cool stuff. Like you got to add some Fibonacci's to your watch list. It's going to change your entries by a lot. Like Levi's the GOAT. There ain't no getting around that. Levi's the GOAT. And he was one of my students. So he was in one of my first boot camps in 2011. And he added all this extra shit. And I'm like, fuck, man. The student becomes the teacher, right? Who cares? Money's money. We all are going here to make money. So just something to be just mindful of as we go through this. So let's get back in this. Let's finish up this watch list. Browse. So we got all these bad boys. Uber. This triple D's. Tap. Tap. You got to pull back to 9. I think this goes tomorrow. It was 2 taps. Guys, always remember you need 3 taps or more to break out. MSTR, I'm leaving the crypto stocks alone. But this, I think, is tomorrow. This may fuck. Guys, $25 breakout. This is hot. You got a flag pattern on the daily. You got to probably pretty cheap option prices. 20 cents. Oh man, guys, 20 cents. So it's gonna cost you $200 to control 1,000 shares. Think about that. It's gonna cost you $400 to control 2,000 shares. All right, let's get 50 contracts going. If this thing goes, 50 contracts going. If it ends up hitting into these zones, oh man, you guys are banking, man. You were drinking Yamasaki 18s. That's a good spot to be in. You're drinking Yamasaki 18s, baby. That's nice. Add DDD, Chewy. I like this on a longer term basis. So I'm into this as a swing trade. I don't know if this is a good day trade. I've been watching it. It's a little bit thin in volume, all this kind of stuff. It has good range. But I do love this. If it ever breaks this, I would add some of this into your IRA. So the Celsius is essentially like, it's the Monster energy drink for like hot chicks, I guess. I don't know. It's the Monster energy drink for people that don't have pickup trucks. And this thing has got nice, good gut variant level here. 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. Looks pretty good, right? Fucking A, man. 2 bears in a bucket? Fuck it. Now, this one I love. Guys, I love this one. At some point, it's going to go. So this is what a base breakout formation means. And by the way, the calls on this are so fucking cheap. I mean, they're like 10 cents, 20 cents. So you can trade the shares, but also you can trade the calls. So like this thing goes in this way. It's going like this. Man, when it breaks this level here, you don't have any levels of resistance. Maybe you got some here. That's a fake level, right? Like trading books, people have those levels. It's a fake level. What I mean by that is like, do you really think like anybody and their uncle is ever going to remember that level? Like honestly, like this particular thing here, because we just like to draw squiggly lines, right? But does anybody ever really remember that level? I know. So how much upside do you have? Think about that. How many degenerates do you have that want to trade on Robinhood? No, I'm just kidding. It's been going down since day one of their IPO. But you got a level here, a suction zone. And I think that's going to be, man, I think it's really important. Like we can get into this. I would mark out maybe about 1350. And tomorrow's zero DTE. 1350 may only cost like 10 cents. 1350 may only cost 5 cents, 10 cents. You know, that's where you want to be. Like you want to be in these kind of random names. Like if it costs 5 cents, 10 cents, and it explodes at 14, it's gonna be about 50 cents, whatever it might be. Then you're gonna have you're gonna make some money. Right? Does that make sense? Good. So we talk about Chewy, talk about Celsius, Hood. Where the Hood at? Man, I do love this. I'm wondering if it needs a little bit of a deeper pull. Normally, I would say it needs a deeper pull, but the market is hot, and hot is hot. I would say on January 3rd, we change what we determine as hot. Guys, remember that. On January 3rd, the patterns that work on December 23rd will be different. This happens every single step of the market. The patterns that worked on December 23rd will be different January 3rd. You just got to catch them. It doesn't mean your profits will be different. It just means the ease of how easy it is to make profits. Does that make sense? So you got to break out here. This is, dude, this is the hottest trade coming. You know, right now, like I'm on YouTube Live, but to get the YouTube Live on, I got to go fucking pay Zoom like $300 a month. I hate Zoom. But here we are. Here we are, face to face, like a couple of silver spoons. Know where we are. Anybody know what show that's from? I'll send a bull's hat to anybody that gets that first. What show is that from? It's a 90s show. Somebody figure it out. Oh, all right. Ronnie Mac? Well, Ronnie McIntosh. I owe you a hat. Yes. 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests, and it was silver. The actual show is called Silver Spoons. 75. If this gets there, it needs a little pull. But if it gets there, bros, that's hot. Same thing, SMCI. I think this might be tomorrow, by the way. You get a breakout, pull back. This trend line break is important. Draw out this trend line, guys. If it does it, I'm taking probably, my guess, I'm taking the 300 calls. 300 calls always is like a good sweet spot on this thing. I'm doing 0 DTE. If I see this thing break, I'm doing 0 DTE, 300 calls. Damn, Anthony. Text me your number. I owe you some. Redfin. Oh, bro, big. We got some. Hey, let me get back into this because some of you guys love these degenerate stocks. Peloton. Guys, if this breaks 650, it's going to be pandemonium. How many stocks are left? This market has been on a big ramp, right? Been big run up. How many stocks are left? How many stocks are left that haven't moved? At some point, it doesn't matter about the company. It doesn't matter about any of that stuff. At some point, who picks this up? Somebody's got to pick this up. There's no stocks left that are big name companies that are brands, right? Lulu, Peloton, whatever. There's no companies left. They're sitting right at the lows. 650, I think you come in and shred this thing. $20. I got alerts in on BKTS, $20. Dude, I think this may actually go tomorrow. So you have a flag pattern, and it popped up, and you got these two like small days. That is the quintessential sign. Like when you have an overall structure, right? When you have an overall structure of a stock, when you got an overall structure of a stock, but right before, like it kind of like grinds down, I'm talking just pennies, not like big down days. I'm talking about pennies. Because stocks get their power from consolidation based. So when you grind down just pennies, though, not big day. If it's down like 5%, 10%, negate it. When you grind down a little bit like that, it's setting up for the MPC. It's setting up for the mega penis candle. It's going to look like this. If it holds and does what it's got to do, the Lord's work. Does that make sense? Stocks get their power from consolidation basis. Yo, this VFS. I love this look. It actually has some options on it too. If it breaks 9 calls, I think we do the 9 calls, we go and we go shred. To snow, we're right at that sweet spot, baby. 203, 202. We'll do the 0 DTE on snow. 203, we're good. MPCs are life, baby. Look, what determines human biology, human nature, the relationship between mothers and sons more than MPCs? MPCs is the governance of stocks and human nature. Does that make sense? We always got to be MPC. Ah, good. I love you guys. That's the list I'm fucking sticking to. I'm gonna post this in let me post this in here so you guys got this. You guys better shred tomorrow. There's no getting around. This is the market to shred. And there's no like, hey, this is a tough market, not tough market. Never been one of these things. Markets are markets. There's no such thing as tough market, bullshit market. Markets are hot all the time. You just got to find the heaters. That's the list I'm sticking to. Fuck. That is not how I wanted to post that. Hold on. Here we are, face to face, like a couple of silver spoons. Boom. Got it. All right. Friends, hey, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East, my friends. You good? You saucy? You rowdy? Tomorrow is the day to make legends. We're going to have some fun. All right. I'll see you all in the chat room. See you all in the boom boom room. I love you guys. The Mogster, Lolito, Young OD, my man. Peace. Raj, Bogra. Soma, what's up, man? The Indian people are supporting.